Yo, what's going on? It's your man Rick Dawn, and it's a lot going on in these internet streets, and we got to talk about it. Jared Leto, he's been accused of sexual assault by 9 women. Brittany Renner and Kevin Gates have divorced. The Pacers and OKC just had game 2, crazy game, and Elon Musk is appearing all over the world or all over the internet with a black eye. We got to talk about it. Now, it's your main man. You already know what it is. This episode is brought to you by the Don Don One. You can get this at aliveshoes.com/Don Don One Jelly. Go cop that. Support me. All right, let's start off with Jared Leto. He's been accused by 9 women who have come forward in airmail. That's a site or some kind of broadcast. I don't know what the heck airmail is, but they all are claiming the exact same thing. Now, you know how I look at this thing. It's like, look, where there's smoke, there's fire. When you have 9 people saying the same thing, then you have to take it more seriously. But for me, I'm a little bit different than that. If you want that traditional type of reporting, then go find it. But here, I'm going to look at things with a fine tooth comb and look through all the details. And my first question is, why is this coming out now? Why is this all happening at once? Why does this come across as a pileup? Or am I wrong in that these things have been circulating for years? I can't tell you with uncertain doubt, but I will tell you this. It does strike me as a little suspicious. And here's why. Because when it comes to Hollywood, let me tell you what really happens. And a lot of times people think I'm kidding about this, but what really happens is, in order to cross over into a higher tier of celebrity and a higher tier of money, a lot of times they will have that person do something incriminating and something deplorable. And a lot of times they'll keep some kind of video footage. Like, if you don't know, a lot of Hollywood is run by blackmail. All right. A lot of blackmail is what keeps Hollywood intact. That's why people don't speak out. That's why people don't do certain things, because somebody got a tape of something bad. And I believe this is what really happens to people like R. Kelly, for example. It's like, wait, if he did all these things, why is it coming out now? Bill Cosby, if he did this and did that, why is it coming out? It's like it's constant. It's a concentrated attack. Why all of a sudden are all these women trying to cancel R. Kelly's show? He been singing for years, for decades. Now you care? And what happens is, these tapes, these things, they exist. Somebody has it. I'll give you another example. If you look at P. Diddy, why did the hotel video footage come out when it did of him attacking Cassie? And I'm not validating and saying what he did was right or wrong. It was wrong. I'm saying that, why did it come out when it did, when it happened at a different time? Again, there's somebody pulling the strings saying, hey, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, I call it coercion, but if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, or if you don't sell this, if you don't give us access to that, you know what we have. You know what we'll do. Shannon Sharp is another example. Like, she had been in a relationship with Shannon Sharp, the white lady, the European young lady, but it's like it didn't happen until he was about to sign that contract. It's like, why now? And it's kind of like, hey, I'll do it. I'll blast your information to the world. And he even tried to settle. I'm talking about Shannon Sharp. He tried to settle for 10 million. But they were so greedy. They said, look, we don't even want the 10 million. We want 50 million. We want a bigger stake. And you have to ask yourself, why does this stuff come out when it does? Man, I'm gonna tell you, it's all blackmail. And I think the same thing is happening with Jared Leto. Look, it's 9 women saying the same thing, which is one thing. But the question is, why did 9 women who had 9 different experiences all concentrate their efforts on or at this time? And the first thing that comes to mind is, I don't know who he upset. I'm not sure if he said no to some kind of favor or what have you. But apparently, whoever has his strings, whoever is his puppet master, said, look, either do it or you know what comes out. He must have declined. And now all this stuff is coming out. And it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Why do you think there's other celebrities who seem to be smiling anytime the camera's on? It's because they don't want that video to come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, they don't want that stuff to come out because it ruins their reputation and all this other stuff happens. I mean, look at Diddy. Diddy's in jail. Diddy never thought this was going to happen. All right. But here we are, right? In this day and age. This is why I always say, be careful wishing that you were famous or that you had fame, because it comes with a lot. And a lot of times, in order to cross over into that certain stratosphere, you often have to do something satanic, something homosexual, something deplorable, in order to get access to that stuff. And they don't release it to the public. They'll hold it as collateral. Like, hey, so we need you to, support this or say this when you give out your acceptance speech. Hey, I don't really feel comfortable with that. Hey, we need you to say this. It's kind of like, back in the day when they used to strong arm athletes or like boxers, like, hey, we need you to take a dive. We need this person to be the champion. We need that person to win. And if you didn't go along with that storyline or that plan, it got real bad for you. So for me, I'm going to wait for the evidence. And we have to get rid of this culture where you can just say somebody did something without any evidence. And it's surprising. And it shows me that a lot of people don't understand just court, like the court system or the systems of court. And for me, all this stuff is being said about Jared Leto is hearsay. It's just somebody's accusations. Where's the evidence? We need that. All right. Anybody can say anything. But if he is guilty of this stuff, shame on him, because in some instances, the women are or were minors when the sexual assault or the traumatization happened. And look, if he's messing with little kids, I don't care if he's doing it for fame, or I don't care what the context is. Something wrong with the guy. But I'm going to wait to cast any type of judgment or make any final statements mentally or verbally before I know facts. All right. And I'm not sure if they're trying to go after him in civil court. I know for a fact they're not trying to go after him criminally. And that's my problem. It's like if somebody did something like that, like, you were 16 years old when he was flirting with you. And I think one of the accusations was he invited the minor. She was like, 17 years old. She was invited to Jared Leto's house at 17 years old. And that's when some of the stuff occurred, like him walking out naked and stuff like that. And my thing is like, where's the parents? And I know at 17, your parents give you more leeway and kind of let you, kind of do your own thing. But if my daughter at 17 years old said she was going to an actor's house and the actor was 34, my first question is why? And perhaps the parents are not cued in on some of this behavior. And that's just a whole nother problem. Like, look, you want to be grown so bad. Don't look, go ahead and be grown. You want to go out and date 34-year-olds and try to be, get yourself involved in all this stuff. Then don't call me when things go awry. Cause I told you, you know what I mean? But I'll wait and see. All right. And then next we got Brittany Renner and Kevin Gates. We heard about a couple months ago that they had tied the knot. And, I tried to be optimistic about this one right here. I was hoping that this was legitimate. It was genuine. And I should have known that. Well, you know what? Let me just backtrack a little bit. I did know this wasn't going to work. Like, who did think this was going to work? Anybody? You want to raise your hand? No, it wasn't going to work because Kevin Gates is a very, shall I say, I want to say eccentric, but then he'll hit you with something that makes a lot of sense. When it comes to somebody that's eccentric, it's like they're very odd. But then he'll say something that is incredibly insightful. So I don't know. I've never understood Kevin Gates, like ever. But I do respect Kevin Gates, if I can be completely honest, because he carries himself a certain way. But yeah, I just kind of knew this wasn't going to work. Now, when it comes to Brittany, I'm really surprised because when you think about it, Kevin Gates does come across as insightful, someone who seems to be very careful. Like, bro, why would you marry Brittany Renner? And there's no shade to her, but she's been very open about who she is. She hasn't hid who she is. She's kind of made it apparent that, look, I'm after your money. I'm trying to win. Like, if dating is a sport, by the time the game is over, I want to be here. I want you there. She's kind of made that stuff apparent. Like, I don't feel like she's hitting that at all. And to double down on my point, when we heard about the Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner relationship or even marriage, what did we see? We saw Brittany Renner having converted to Islam, and she had on a scarf and all these different things. I said, you was just with Charleston White, a year prior, like on his lap dancing. Like, nobody makes that type of change. Like, I don't care what type of epiphany you have. Like, you're not changing that drastically. So I just knew, like, this is like a time bomb. And then also, when it comes to personalities, Brittany Renner I wouldn't categorize her as eccentric, but I would say that she is dramatic. I would say attention seeking. So you get a bomb, you put attention seeking dramatic in it, and you put eccentric consciousness in it, and then you add on top of that Islam. Like, come on, this is not going to. This is a recipe for disaster. It was only what, 2 months, right? That's how long the relationship lasts. And I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. Kevin Gates need to go back to Draker. Like, that is arguably one of the most beautiful women, like top 100 women as far as looks are concerned that I've seen in a long time. And also, one thing about Draker Gates is she's not only beautiful, she's extremely smart, right? I oftentimes kind of stumble upon her post on Instagram, and it's always something insightful. You see what happens when it comes to marriage? You can't, this is what people get wrong about marriage. They always want to marry someone like themselves. So you'll see people get divorced because, oh, well, we're not the same. We don't agree with. It's like, you don't want to marry somebody that's exactly like you. Like, that's the wrong way to go about it. You need to marry somebody that fills in your blank. So if you're a very loud person who's kind of like, ambitious, and you throw caution into the wind, the best person for you to marry, and I promise you this is not a lie, is someone who's quiet, who's very calculated. Because then you kind of, you cover the entire pie. Like, if you marry somebody that is also courageous and crazy, you just got two crazy people in a marriage. That's not good. That's not gonna survive. It's not a recipe for success. You need somebody who can cover your blind side. Like, if you got two left arms, what good is that gonna do you? You need somebody who's a right arm. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, now that we got a left arm me and I got a right arm you, we can actually get some things accomplished. You need an opposite. It's like you need a mirror image of yourself. And that's what Draker Gates was to Kevin Gates. She was very calm. Kevin Gates seems to be the opposite of that. She was very, very reserved. She was quiet even. Whereas Kevin Gates is more over the top and very boisterous and has a lot of opinions, and he's very opinionated and stuff like that. That's why I thought that Draker Gates was a great balance for him. Yeah, and what happens once Draker leaves the situation? He goes and marries Brittany Renner. Like, bro, that was not the that wasn't the move. That wasn't the move. And now we see that. You know what I mean? And Brittany Renner, let's be real, you know what she is, and she's a gamstress, right? So I don't feel bad about anything I'm saying because she's a gamesman. She's a gamesman, and what I mean by that is she plays the game. You know what I mean? She reminds me of the second coming of Amber Rose. Like, she's not gonna let this stop her. I'll give it a year and 2 minutes that she'll have a whole new guy, right? Because she's playing the game. I saw the same thing with, who was that? India Love, right? India Love. And it was a whole bunch of stuff coming out online talking about how she's, really happy she has DDG in her corner and all that stuff. And I was just like, you know what? DDG, okay? India Love, got it. I Googled India Love's past boyfriends, and I saw like 75, sorry, no, it wasn't 75 guys, but it was like 8 different guys, all celebrities. And I said, yo, she's a gamesman. And DDG is just the latest catch because these ladies is pimps too. Facts. All right, next, Pacers versus OKC. We know that the Pacers stole game 1. Shout out to the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton, amazing shot to win that game. And then we saw in this game that just passed, OKC strike back. Your boy Shea was not playing. SGA came to ball. I got a huge criticism, though, and I'm going to get this out the way early. Tyrese Halliburton, he's been the topic of a lot of conversation as it relates to whether or not he's a star or a superstar. If LeBron James is a superstar, then where does that place Tyrese Halliburton? It's been a lot of conversation about that. And you know what? I think the answer has been revealed in game 2. Tyrese Halliburton is a star, and that's it. I'm going to tell you why. Because in game 2, he only scored 17 points. Okay? 17 points. That's more than I can score. I mean, I can't even score 5 points in the LA Fitness game, for crying out loud. But the point is, Tyrese Halliburton is, if he's a superstar, you can't score 17 points. Look, you know what's crazier about that? Like, 17 points is one thing, but when we look over at the OKC side of things, there were 4 players that scored more than 17 points. So how could you possibly be a superstar if Shea Gilgeous Alexander outscored you, if Jalen Williams outscored you, if Alex Caruso outscored you? Like, bro, no, 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 no. So I wouldn't say that he's a superstar. I think that he is definitely on the verge. And it was Jason Williams who was ready to die for that take. He was like, yo, look, I think that he's a superstar. I sound just like when I said that. I think that he's a superstar. And, Stephen A, preposterous. You know how he does it. But the point is, no, he's not a superstar yet. But it's no shame in the growth process. There's no shame in being a star. Like, at least you're that. There's some people in the NBA that ain't even a twinkle, dog. So the fact that you are on the verge is great. But here's the problem with Tyrese Halliburton. He's waiting until the fourth quarter to get off. You can't do that, bro. You can't get off in the fourth quarter. Now all of a sudden, your team is down by 19 points. You want to score now? That is not the way to do things, my bro. That's not the way to do things. And that's what's pretty much happening. He's waiting to the fourth quarter to get off, and all of a sudden, it's just too late. All right? It's just too late. The man is being outscored by Alex Caruso. Who gets outscored by Alex Caruso? That's crazy. He's getting outscored by Jalen Williams. He's getting outscored by Shea. We know he's going to get outscored by Shea. He's getting outscored by Wiggins. And I'm not talking about the Wiggins you know from Golden State. I'm talking about the OKC Wiggins. So that's insane to even... You can't be the best player, quote unquote, superstar of a team. And then, you look across the stat sheet and you come fifth if you were included on the OKC team. Tyrese Halliburton has confidence issues. Like, he doesn't know how good he is. He doesn't understand how good he can be. And all he has to do is look at SGA. SGA is basically him in 2 years, right? If he just follows whatever Shea did when he was at the point that Tyrese is at right now, just follow that blueprint, that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to be the SGA. And hopefully SGA starts to move up the tier as well. But no, you can't wait to the fourth quarter to finally start to score, bro, when your team is down 19. You got to start game one, second one. That's what it is. I'm going to tell you a great person to watch. And I know Tyrese is not watching this, but if he were, I would say, take a look at Jalen Brunson. Everybody criticizes him for being a ball hog or whatever. Man, that is not the way you want to categorize somebody like Jalen Brunson, because he's aggressive. He's extremely talented. And that is that, bro. Now, one thing I'm extremely happy about as it relates to basketball, to kind of segue away from the whole Tyrese Halliburton superstar myth, all right? One thing I am happy about is we are now officially out of the Big Three era. Look, it was started by, in my opinion, it was started by the Celtics. All right, the modern version of the Big Three assemblage. It was started by the Celtics when Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce got together. That was the new era of Big Three. And because LeBron James couldn't beat that, he decided to go to Miami and join Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and form a Big Three. And then you saw KD join the Warriors. So that era is over. If you have three superstars, notice I said superstars, not stars, you are no longer able to win a championship with that particular assemblage. Why? Because a lot of times your teams are top heavy. Yeah, you got three superstars, and that's great, but you have no depth. You have no bench. And if you look at what we have in the finals right now with the Pacers and OKC, these teams don't have three superstars. They have they have one superstar, they have a star underneath the superstar, then they have a lot of... What's the tier right under superstar? Somebody let me know in the comment section what that might be. Like, if you're not a superstar, you're a star. But if you're not a star, I need somebody to answer that, because that's what both teams have. Okay, sure. Tyler Halliburton is not a superstar, but he's on the verge. So we'll kind of, we'll work with what we got. But you got Tyrese Halliburton. Then you have... Who's the second person like this? It's a lot of good guys on the Pacers, and I don't know their name. But I know one thing. Miles Turner's pretty dope. I can tell you that. And then they have a ton of, like, really strong, and I don't want to say role players, because to me, the tier between star and role player, I feel like it's a tier in between that. Superstar, star, blank, role player. I think it's something above that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, whatever the sixth man of the year is, I feel like whatever you categorize that person as, they should be in that third slot. But Then you look at the OKC side. Oh my gosh, they got the perfect assemblage, and maybe this is why the Pacers are going to ultimately lose this series because Tyrese Halliburton is not a superstar. Perhaps they need a superstar. Like imagine if they had a Giannis or a LeBron on the Pacers, they would actually be perfect because Tyrese Halliburton wouldn't have to be a superstar. He'll be a star with a LeBron above him, and then all these amazing third tier arriving stars or emerging stars. Okay, but if you look at OKC, you see that. You see, I'm going to go ahead and say it, man. I feel bad in saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and call SGA a superstar. He doesn't have a ring, but he has an MVP. That matters, right? And he's about to get a ring this year. So SGA is the superstar. Jalen Williams is the star, and then you have like an amazing supporting cast. All right, Alex Caruso went off like this last game. What was it, 20 points? That's crazy. You got Wiggins starting to pop off and go crazy, and I feel so bad for not knowing this guy's name because he's the tallest kid. You know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, it's not Holmgren. It's not Holmgren. Is it? It might be. It might be Holmgren. Holmgren. He's really tall and skinny. You know who I'm talking about. He's really good. He's really good as well. So, it kind of reminds me of the Bulls era where, they had the superstar. And I'm being real nice because he's really like, what's higher than super? Like, Michael Jordan is higher than superstar. But anyway, let's just play the game. You had Michael Jordan as the superstar. You had Scottie Pippen as the star. Then you had whatever that third tier is with Rodman, Kukoc, Luke Longley, Ron Harper. Then you had a good set of role players too. So I feel like we're now hitting back into that era of basketball where you have a superstar, star, blank, great role players. That's where we're going. And I think if you try to create a super team in this era, you're going to fail. Like straight up. The new system is this. Superstar, star, emerging superstar, great, or I should say, I don't know, good role players, okay? Yeah, I'm going to say good role players. That's what you want to have, okay? That's what you need in order to win a championship in the modern NBA, and it feels so good because, the super team era, I'm going to go on record and say I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I felt like it was a cheap way out. Anyway, now, Elon Musk, your man been tripping lately. He just exposed or tried to expose Donald Trump, saying that he's in the Epstein files, and that is exactly why he's not releasing the Epstein files. And you have to ask yourself, is that BS or not? Now, I was on X the other day, Twitter the other day, and I was looking at all these different posts, and let me tell you something. White Americans, they love them some Donald Trump. There's nothing that he can do, that will turn off this admiration. I saw a post, and this is crazy, right? I saw a post that said, if Donald Trump was in the Epstein files and was confirmed to have been to Epstein Island, would you still support him or not? I was expecting to see something more judicial. I was expecting to see like a realist answer. Like, of course not. Of course not. We wouldn't support Donald Trump if we had confirmation, not fake news, real news that he was on Epstein Island. We can confirm it. We wouldn't support him at all. That's what I was expecting to see. You know what I saw? This is no exaggeration. One lady said, since being on that island, he's become a Christian. So all of his sins are forgiven. I said, wow. I said, whoa, that's insane. Wow. Yo. So apparently, according to this one lady, I don't know her name, random lady, by the way, according to her, if Donald Trump visited Epstein Island and engaged in any type of illegal activity, the moment he became a Christian, all of his sins have been forgiven. Look, first off, ain't nobody a bigger lover of Jesus than me. But lady, you pushing it. Come on. I said, yo, there's nothing he can do wrong. He can't do any wrong with these people. And the saddest part about it is these Caucasian Americans don't even realize that they supporting a black man. Donald Trump is not a white president. I keep trying to explain to people. He let Harry O out of jail. Did you hear what I said? Donald Trump let Harry O out of jail. Look, there's black people who wouldn't let Harry O out of jail. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I keep on focusing on Harry O, but I'm just saying, he's let out certain people that makes me realize that he's a black man. Like he let out Harry O, he let out Lil Wayne, Kodak Black. He just commuted the federal sentence or sentencing of Larry Hoover. Like, come on, dude. Like, that's not something that your your average white American is gonna do. Like, that's just not something they're gonna do. So for me, I love it because a lot of Caucasian Americans are supporting a black president. He just happens to have, pink skin or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, but no, Elon Musk has been tripping, and somebody also said something that I thought was pretty clever. They said if Donald Trump had been to the island, don't you think that the Democrats would have used that information to, push back against him during election time? And I said, you know what? That's a great point. If Donald Trump had indeed been on Epstein Island, then why wouldn't or how couldn't the Democrats have access to the information? You would think that they would have used that as leverage to win the election. And what I wanted to tell that person was, look, you don't think that the Democrats and the Republicans are working together? Like, you really think they're at each other's throat? Like, I don't think you understand how this works. All right, this is chess, not checkers. Like, but I didn't want to go that deep down the rabbit hole. I just said, you know what? I'll play along. You're right. Maybe that's exactly why Donald Trump has never been to Epstein Island. But turns out what's led to all this talk about Trump's whereabouts and stuff like that was a falling out that took place in the White House. And we all saw this coming, or maybe you didn't, but I kind of felt like it was going to happen eventually because we have two very dominant and strong personalities, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And apparently, Elon Musk had a guy that he was trying to get elected to head the NASA program or something to that effect. And Donald Trump, being the black man that he is, he said, F that idea. And he ultimately picked his own person. And this caused Elon Musk to react in a way that has been very aggressive. Now, there's another situation that took place within the White House where I want to say his name is Scott Bassett. He, Donald Trump, Elon Musk were in the same vicinity, and apparently some things had transpired in which Elon Musk, and they keep on saying rugby charged, like basically took his shoulder and rammed it into Scott Bassett. And before the fight could be broken up, Scott Bassett threw him two pieces in a chicken wing, and lo and behold, Elon Musk pops up with his black eye. It's also been reported that they tried to offer Elon Musk some makeup to kind of cover up the black eye, but he declined and said, look, I'm going to take my lumps like a king, like a champion. But nevertheless, when this all happened and took place, your main man, Donald Trump, said this is too much. And that is how the whole Elon Musk situation transpired. Now, from the outside looking in, it all looked like this. Like, okay, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are the best of friends. And if you were somebody like me, you're saying to yourself, how did this friendship come about? And why is it so tight-knit? Like, they just became, or we're just seeing this budding friendship. And it's extremely aggressive. It's like fast-paced. It's like when your friend meets somebody and then it's like, wait, y'all already talking about getting married? Like you just met the person 2 months ago. That's how I felt when I saw the Donald Trump and Elon Musk relationship starting to move. And after that, we see this weird energy. We see this energy shift. It went from, hey, look, we kind of already, we're best of friends. And we already know what it was. It was just like Elon Musk got him elected. Anyway, and it was like, we're best of friends. And then it just changed. Where it's like, hey, so Elon Musk is going to be relieved of his duties. He's going to go back to making cars because he's done a lot in terms of destroying the Tesla stock with Nazi and crazy gestures on stage. It's about that time that he venture out and get back to his business. So we were all confused. Like, wait a minute. He was just getting people fired and all this stuff. And all of a sudden he's going back to business as usual. And then, fast forward some time, 5-6 months. Now all of a sudden we see all these crazy tweets about Trump, Epstein, the files. And we see all these pictures start to matriculate where Elon Musk has a black eye, and now the truth is coming out. Seriously, there's nothing that can be done in the dark. Anything done in the dark will come out to the light. Now we know that Elon Musk was removed promptly because he started to zerp out as a result of not getting his way. He wanted that NASA guy to get picked up. And why? Because he's trying to colonize Mars. to something to that effect. He's trying to be the first one to get up there and start building stuff and taking claim and holding. It's like Christopher Columbus on steroids. Like Christopher Columbus, quote unquote, stole America from the Native Americans and started trying to colonize and stake their claim and all these different things. Same thing with Mars. He's trying to be the first one there. He's trying to be the one who, gets all these different things named after him, if you know what I mean. And that person that he wanted to head the NASA program would have made that much easier. And when he didn't get his way, he just wasn't with it. And who else can really check a billionaire and say, no? Like, how many people can check and tell a billionaire no? Well, I'll tell you one person, the president. That's the one person that can do that. And that's exactly what happened. He told Elon Musk no, and Elon Musk, in all of his glory, does a rugby charge into Scott Bassett. And shout out to Scott Bassett for hitting him with that 3-piece and a chicken wing and a biscuit, and giving him that black eye real quick. So that's what really happened, man. I think that's what's going on. And the big question from here is, will Donald Trump and Elon Musk ever be cool again? And somebody already kind of gave their 2 cents on this. Basically, it's possible, but it will never be the same. Like, you ever been with somebody, y'all friends, but the height of y'all friendship has already elapsed. Like, okay, y'all cool, but y'all not as cool as y'all used to be because certain things have happened. That's what this is. It's like they might kind of get back on the same track, but it'll never be the same. It's like B2K. Like, every time they keep trying to come back, it's not the same as it was before. Like, they've already reached their height of friendship or groupship. The Temptations, the Jackson 5, they might do like a new edition. You ever seen the new edition? It's like, that's not the same. Nope. That's not the same new edition. I can tell the energy off. It's different. Something off. That's because Bobby been tripping for years. But no, so that's what it is. So they could potentially, become friends at some point. Why not? But it won't be the same as it was when we saw it like really blossoming, right? And I'm going to go a step further than that. I'm going to say it's never going to happen. I don't think so. I think Donald Trump is that kind of person. Like, once you cross Donald Trump one time, dog, you already know what it is, big fella. There's no way he going to go back and give you another chance to cross him. All right? Because fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Something like that. All right? Now I'm sounding like George Bush. But that's pretty much it, man. These internet streets is tripping, man. They tripping. Hey, yo, throw a like on the video if you enjoyed this, and definitely go cop the Down 1 jellies. Let's get it.